practice that is all about getting upside down. So you'll want to have a chair or something similar handy. You'll want to have a blanket, or it could even be, if you've got more of a square bolster, you could have that. But you want to kind of roll up. If you've got a blanket, you want to have a reasonable thickness. Could even be stacking 2 blankets or towels on top of one another, and you will need a block. So we'll get started. I'm just going to move the chair out of the way. We'll get started just with the block underneath the hips, or sitting on top of your roll. You are going to need the block, so if you are going to sit on the block, have a second block handy. Okay, we're going to bring one hand to the bottom of the sternum to a point called the xiphoid, and the other hand is going to go to your tailbone or the coccyx. We're going to do a little bit of breathing, trying to bring those 2 points towards one another and then away from one another. So that it will look like this. It's sort of like a really subtle cat-cow action. And I want you to really think of this action because we're going to keep coming back to it as we progress through the practice. So coming to that comfortable seated position, you can keep your eyes open or you can soften your gaze. And as you start to tune into your breath, just notice how these 2 points relate to one another and even move as you breathe. So you might notice as you breathe in, there's a natural sense of those 2 points moving away from one another. And as you breathe out, a natural sense that those 2 points come towards one another. And just keep going with this on your own. And then just keep breathing in this way, noticing the connection between these 2 points, because this is going to be really key when we start to play upside down. It's that ability to bring these 2 points towards each other and to maintain that when we're upside down. And the next time that you bring them towards each other, see if you can hold them in that position. So it's going to mean that you direct the breath into other parts of the thoracic spine, maybe even the back body a little bit more. You might even feel a little bit more core activation. Really subtle though. We're not gripping. Good, and then let that go. See if you can hold on to that position with the body. Reach your arms out in front of you and squeeze into fists. Now keep this smooth part of your forearms pointing to the ceiling as you start to draw circles with your wrist. So for most of us, what will happen as you draw these circles is the forearm will roll in. So really try and avoid that happening. And if it's really difficult, you can even block it and just do one at a time. Good, and then reverse the direction of your circles. Notice maybe one wrist feels a little stiffer right now. Maybe you've got more motion in one side, or maybe the forearm on one side likes to get involved more than the other. Good, and then let that go. Give your hands a little shake out. Squeeze into fists out in front of you, and then flick out as wide as you can. Squeeze into fists and flick. Squeeze and flick. So it's like you're flicking water off your fingers, and then start to speed it up a little, but keep the intensity of the squeeze and the flick. And just starting to warm up all of these muscles in the forearms. Good, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Give it again, a little shake out. And then if you're high enough, you can just rest the arms alongside you. I'm going to stand up on the knees so I've got a little bit more space for my arm. So now shrug your shoulders up towards your ears. Roll the shoulders forward. Shrug the shoulders down. And then draw the shoulder blades towards one another. Now, as the shoulder blades come towards each other, watch that you don't poke the ribs out. So see if you can keep that xiphoid tailbone connection. Let's do that again. Up, forward, down, and back. Up, forward, down, and back. Reverse it now. Forwards, up, around, and down. Forwards, up, around, and down. Good. Grab your block now. Same thing, but we're going to squeeze the block out in front. And again, really watch that the ribs don't pop forward. So squeeze the block, push forward with the block, shoulders up, squeeze the shoulder blades back, draw the shoulders down. Forwards, up, back, and down. Forwards, up, back, and down. And then go in reverse, squeeze the shoulder blades, watch that the ribs didn't flare, lift up, push forward, and down. Keep squeezing onto the block as you draw these circles in the opposite direction. Watch that the elbows don't bend as well. Good, and then give your arms a little jiggle out. Same thing, but now block above your head. So you're going to reach the block up, and again, watch that the tailbone and the ribs don't lose their connection. Shoulders back, a little bit trickier. Shoulders down, shoulders forward. Up, back, down, forward, reverse, back, up. Check that the elbows aren't bending. Keep squeezing your block, last ones. Up, around, and down. Good. Put the block to one side. Give your arms a little shake out. All right, come down onto your roll. So we're just going to wake up the outer hips, the inner thighs, and our core. So that roll that you've got, place your outer trochanter. So that's the widest part of your hip on the roll. So you'll end up with kind of like this side bend shape. Legs towards the floor, upper body towards the floor, and hips lifted. Bring your hand out in front of you, squeeze your legs together like you've got one leg, like a mermaid tail, and then lift your legs up as high as you can. So you'll start to feel the inner thigh of that underneath leg and the outer hip of the top leg. And then pulse at that top range. Try and keep the legs squeezed together as you pulse up and down. And see if you can get a little higher each time. You can pulse it in time with the breath, so both legs are coming up, remember, not just one. See if you can keep both legs together. Ugh. Good. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release the legs down, bring the top leg forward, and just open out into a gentle twist, just to let that side go. So the tricky bit is to get that bottom leg especially up, and that's going to really kind of connect you to your inner thighs, your adductors, which are key when we're going upside down. Good. And then switch over onto the other side. You can just roll over. I'm just going to stay facing the camera. So again, that outer trochanter comes onto the roll. Lay yourself down. Top hand comes in front. Flex your feet. Squeeze your legs together strongly, and then lift your legs as high as they will go and pulse at that top range. So you don't have to come down too much. See if you can stay up as high as possible. So it's really starting to wake up, particularly the bottom leg, inner thigh. Well, that's where I feel it, so hopefully you're feeling it there too. Go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release down. Top leg comes forward. Roll the chest back. Just take a little twist and release that. Good. And then from here, all you need to do is roll onto your back and keep your butt on the roll. And you may just need to adjust up or down just once we start, and you'll know whether you need to move so that you don't fall off the roll. Now again, bring your xiphoid tailbone towards each other. So it's going to create a bit of a rib to hip connection, and maybe even do a little bit more of that rib to hip. Reach both legs straight up above your head. Now start to draw the legs down, only to a point where you can maintain your rib to hip connection. You can keep the head on the floor or you can lift the head up, so I'll let you choose. Reach your arms back behind you. Now roll onto your right hip, so you're going to kind of target the obliques. Take your arms towards the left. And then draw the legs up towards the ceiling, the arms towards the ceiling. Roll through the center, over onto your left hip, and then reach the arms to the right, the legs to the left. So head on the floor is the easier version, head off the floor a little trickier. Bring it all the way back up. Rotate, well, bring the legs to the center, the arms to the center, then legs go to the right, arms go to the left. Sweep the arms and the legs away from each other, keep that rib to hip connection. Draw them back up. Go through center over to the left and then reach them away. Good, come all the way up, over to the other side. So as the legs come down, keep thinking of tailbone towards you, ribs towards the pelvis. So I'm not really concerned about how far you go with the legs. It's more about maintaining that awareness of the front chain of the body, which is going to also help us when we're upside down. Good, starting to create some real heat here. Let's do one more each side. And then just hug the knees in and take a little rock and roll. And roll yourself off your roll and come up into a tabletop with your hands on your roll. So because the roll is kind of squishy, you'll notice that the heel of the hand drops down below the fingers. So now keeping the shoulders over the wrist, can you lift the heel of the hand up so that you feel that the heel of the hand is now in line with your fingertips? So we're working isometrically now through the forearms. Can you maintain that as you articulate your cat-cow? So starting from the tailbone, one vertebrae at a time, start to lift this tailbone, then the pelvis, lumbar spine drops to the earth, thoracic spine starts to arch, your head will be the last thing to arrive in your cow, and then tuck the tailbone under and slowly go into your cat. Can you maintain that sense of lift through the forearms? Should be feeling a little bit burny through the forearms if you're really trying to hold that position. And then from the tailbone, nice and slowly coming back into your cow. Try and keep the shoulders in the sockets, the elbows straight. And then as slowly as you can, back into cat. Seeing if you can articulate one vertebrae at a time. Good, one more. Ooh, say hello to your forearms. And if you're not feeling it in the forearms, maybe just bring your shoulders a little further forward over the wrists. Good, last time into cat. And then return just to a neutral spine. And come off your hands, and again, just give your wrists a good shake out. Then move your roll to one side. Take your hands out in front of you and grip the floor with all of your fingertips. Feel that lift through the heel of the hand like you just created. Tuck your toes, hover your knees just away from the floor. Push with your hands as much as you can, and then raise your hips up and back, downward facing dog. And push with your hands to send your sitting bones as high as you can. And really grip with the fingertips, pulling back towards the palms. And then can you bring the xiphoid and tailbone towards each other again? Feel that connection to your core. And then slowly tiptoe your way forward to the top of your mat. Folding over the legs. One vertebrae at a time, start to roll on up to stand. And Tadasana, top of the mat. Reach the arms out and up. Catch hold of the left wrist and side bend over to the right. Now as you side bend to the right, try and push up with your left arm and pull down with the right hand. And now bring awareness to the xiphoid and tailbone and see if you can bring them in a little. So towards one another. Come back through the center, switch your grip, side bend to the left. And then same thing, this time you're pushing up with your right arm as you pull down with the left. And the tailbone, xiphoid stay in relationship to each other. Come back to the center. Exhale, fold over your legs. Step your left foot back, keep the knee lifted. If you need to, the left hand can go onto your block. Now try and keep your ribs sandwiched against your right thigh for this one. Right arm is going to sweep forward, up towards the ceiling, but don't let the ribs lift away from your leg. So see how much range of motion you have through the shoulder without using the ribs. Reach the arm all the way back behind you and then begin the circle again. Okay, so try and keep the ribs sandwiched against your thighs. So that will mean that the gaze will probably stay down at the floor as we isolate just to the shoulder movement. It's a little bit trickier than what we normally do. We're really trying to wake up the back of the shoulder as much as we can. Good, one more big circle. Try and keep the ribs sandwiched on your thigh. And then plant your hands, move the block forward and out in front of you. Step back to plank pose. Pull the feet and hands towards each other and start to just circle around your wrist, just so that we wake up the core and the wrists a little more, the shoulders. And then find the center point for you and lower to your belly. Once you're on your belly, extend your right arm out in front of you, and that block that you've got, you're going to bring it alongside your right arm. Now you can either go lowest setting, medium setting, or highest setting, and you'll know once we start this. Bring your forehead down onto the floor. And then without moving anything else, try and lift your right arm up and over your block and set it down. Now, if you hit your block, turn it down. If you cleared your block easily, make it higher. And then repeat that a few more times on your own. Lift up and over your block. Up and over your block. And as you lift up and over your block, can you press your pelvis down, your feet down, so the rest of the body is engaged, nothing else is moving. Good, one more up and over. And then bring your hands back beside your ribs and press back, downward facing dog. Push the ground away, extend your sitting bones to the sky. Take a breath in, raise the right leg to the sky. Lead with the inseam of the leg. Exhale, draw the knee to the nose, shift forward, round your upper back, pull the knee in as tight as you can. Send it back, three-legged down dog. Draw the knee to the nose, round into your upper back. Send it back, three-legged down dog. Last one, knee to nose, and step the foot between your hands. Ground through the heel and raise the arms above your head for crescent warrior. Then turn your palms to face forward and pull your fingertips back towards your forearms, so active wrist extension. Now push up towards the ceiling as if you're going to push the ceiling away. As you do that, bring your xiphoid tailbone towards each other. So some of you, it may mean that you bend the back knee a little. Keep pressing up towards the ceiling. Good, now left knee is going to come towards your chest. See if you can keep your arms above your chest, above your head rather, and pull the left knee in towards your chest as much as you can. And finding a little balance. It's like our little stag handstand upside down. Good, and then release the foot to the floor. Give the legs a little wriggle. Press out with your heels, reach the arms to the sky. Catch the left wrist and side bend over to the right. Again, bring the xiphoid tailbone towards one another as you side bend. Come back to the center, side bend to the other side. Right arm pressing towards the sky. Come back to the center, swan dive over your legs. This time your right foot is going to step back. Right hand can go on the block or on the floor. Sandwich your rib cage right against your thigh and keep it there as the left arm now reaches forward, up towards the sky, all the way back behind you and around. Good, keep going with this. Notice where you start to want to borrow that movement from the ribs. Can you keep the left side rib cage pointing to the ground? So you almost have to do a counter movement, particularly as the hand goes above you. It's like your ribs have to counter and press towards the floor. Good, one more big circle. And then plant your hands to the floor, step back, plank pose. Again, circle around your wrists. You start to kind of wake up the core a little more, the wrists, the shoulders. And find your center point and pull the earth towards you as you lower to your belly. And then move that block over to the left and bring your left arm all the way out in front and on one side of the block. Keep your forehead down, press your pelvis down, your feet down, and try and lift up and over your block. And if you need to, drop it down a little lower or lift it up a little higher, and then just keep doing this on your own. As you lift up and over, notice if you're bending the elbow, can you keep the arms straight as you lift up and over? Good, a couple more. And bring your hand back alongside the ribs and make your way back, downward facing dog. From the inseam of your left leg, sweep it to the sky. Draw the knee to the nose, round into your upper back, pull it in tight. Push the heel back and up, three-legged down dog. Draw the knee to the nose, round into your upper back. Push the heel back, three-legged down dog. One more time, knee to nose. And step the foot between your hands. Ground through the heel as you raise the arms above the head. Turn the palms to face forward and then pull the fingertips back towards your forearms and push up to the sky. Find that xiphoid tailbone connection again. That may mean softening the back knee, may mean bringing the arms a little further forward. Good, and then draw your right knee to your chest, stork pose. Try and push up with the hands a little more as you pull that knee in a little tighter. And then release to the floor, Tadasana, mountain pose. Take a breath in, reach the arms to the sky. Exhale, fold over your legs. Hands to your shin bones, halfway lift. Plant the hands, step back, plank pose. Pull the feet and hands towards each other and slow lower to your belly. This time, both arms reach out in front of you. Try and scoop the tailbone towards the floor so you'll feel the lower belly get a little lighter. Keep your feet pressed down, the belly light, your forehead down. This time, lift both arms up. Lift them up and hold them up. See if you can get your belly a little further away from the floor. And release, bring your hands alongside you, press back, downward facing dog. Right leg, float it to the sky. Knee to nose, round into your upper back and step the foot between your hands. This time your right fingertips are going to go out to the right or maybe even onto your block. You're going to pour the weight into that right leg and then start to swing your left leg straight out to the side, so we're abducting the leg. Really stand strong on that right leg and then squeeze the leg back in and open it out. So just a little standing one-legged balance just to wake up our abductors before we do this next little sequence. Good, open out to the side, back in, open out, back in, one more, open out, and release, fold over your legs, give your legs a little shimmy shake. Sweep the arms out and up, reach for the sky. Fold straight back down over the legs. Hands to your shin bones, halfway lift. Plant the hands, step back, plank pose. Slow lower to your belly, pull the earth towards you. Once you're all the way down, arms straight out in front of you again. Press down through the feet. Really strongly scoop your tailbone towards the floor so you feel the lower belly get light. Keep that action as you try and lift both arms to the sky. Now, as you lift both arms, notice if you pressed your belly down. If you did, just reset. Really awakening these muscles in the middle, upper back. Good, release and press back. Downward facing dog. Left leg, float it to the sky. Draw the knee to the nose, round into your upper back, and step between your hands. Left fingertips go out to the side or onto your block, and then sweep that right leg straight out to the side so it's in line with your left leg, but right out. And then lower, hover, and sweep it back out again. So really think of standing strong on that left leg as you lift and hover the right leg. Check in with the toes, make sure that the toes are more pointing down rather than up to the sky. So you're keeping slight internal rotation. Good, last two little lifts. And then fold over your legs. Give your legs a good shake out. And slowly roll on up to stand. Bring your feet a little closer together to touch. And draw your left knee to your chest, so squeeze into that right buttock really strongly. Kick your left heel forward and imagine plugging that left leg into the socket. Reach the arms above you, pull the fingertips back towards the forearms. And then sweep this leg all the way through into your warrior three. You can keep the arms reaching forward, or if that's too much, just bring them alongside the body. If you are reaching forward, imagine you're pushing that wall in front of you away. Land your toes at the back of the mat, reach the arms to the sky, crescent. As you exhale, bend into the back knee, straighten the front leg. Again, pubic bone xiphoid towards each other as you lean back for angle stretch. Good, come forward, crescent. Lean it back, straighten the front leg, angle stretch. So starting to bring some load into this quadricep. Come forward, crescent. One more time, angle stretch. Come forward, crescent. This time, turn the back foot, come to skater pose. So you're staying a little higher. Keep your right toes on the floor. Bend into this left knee and send your hips back in space. You can maybe bring right hand to the floor, come into a little rotation. You can bring the arms alongside you. So just kind of choosing what feels right for you. I'm going to go with rotation because that feels good and I get a nice little stretch through that adductor. If you are in the rotation, bring the hand down. Start to travel forward to your right foot. So your right foot should already be pointing forward. Take the right fingertips out to the side or onto your block. and come up into half moon. Now we've got a fun little tricky transition here. Keep squeezing that right hip in, sweep your left leg all the way forward, so you're swinging it into that position we just practiced. Come all the way around in front, and then swing it back into your warrior three position, hips point to the floor, bend into that standing leg, and then lift your chest up, find your warrior three. Arms either back or you press forward again. Let's do that again. Land the toes at the back of the mat, reach up, crescent. Lean it back, angle stretch. Come forward into crescent. Skater pose, right foot stays as it is. You just turn that back foot and bend the knee. Nice. Come all the way forward. Right hand to your block or to the floor. Lift up into half moon. Left leg high. And then swing your left leg out to the side all the way forward. Sweep it back into warrior three. Hips turn to the floor. Hug that outer hip in. Soften into the knee and then lift up. Warrior three, arms forward or back. One more time, step it back, crescent. Angle stretch, lean it back. Crescent. And then skater pose. Come forward, right fingertips to the block or to the floor, lift up, half moon. And this time, sweep the leg around all the way, land it on the floor and fold. Give your legs a little wriggle. Slowly roll on up to stand. So we'll do all of that on the other side. So begin by drawing your right knee to your chest, taking your arms straight up to the sky, pull the fingertips back towards the forearms. And then extend the leg out and think of plugging the thigh bone into the socket as the leg goes out. Sweep the leg back into warrior three. Hug your inner thighs as you push through the hands. And if it's too much with the arms reaching forward, just bring them alongside you. Slowly land the toes at the back of the mat, crescent warrior. Bend your back knee, straighten the front leg, tailbone forward, ribs down and in, angle stretch. Come back into crescent. And just tick-tock between those two a couple more times. Starting to eccentrically work into the quads, the hip flexors of that back leg. Back to crescent, turn the back foot out, skater pose. Left hand can come to the floor for the rotation if you like, or you can just keep the arms alongside you. Good. Look forward, travel forward. Left hand is going to go to the outside or onto your block as your right leg lifts up into your half moon balance. Squeeze that outer hip, so similar to what we did when we were lying on the cushion earlier. Now swing the leg all the way out to the side, all the way forward. It comes down to the floor and then sweeps back into that warrior three position. Soften into your standing leg and lift your chest up. So use the rebound against the floor. Arms can be alongside you or you can push forward again through the arms. Land the toes. Reach up, crescent. Send the hips back into your angle. Come back, crescent. Skater pose, maybe with that left hand to the floor. Go forward, left hand to the outside of the mat, right leg lifts, half moon. Sweep the leg around, all the way down, swing it back, hips to the floor, warrior three. Soften into the knee and then press to rise up. Arms can press forward if you like. Last round, land the toes, crescent. Lean it back, angle. Come forward, crescent. Skater pose to the right. Look to the left, travel forward, left hand to the floor, come up into your half moon. And then circle the leg all the way around and into Uttanasana, forward fold. Give the head a shake, give the legs a shake. And then slowly roll on up to stand. And then grab your chair or whatever you're using. We'll have a little play upside down. So hopefully the legs are feeling nice and warm, the arms, the core, stability muscles. So that action that we just had of lifting the leg up and pulling it in, we're going to replicate that but with our feet on the chair. So your hands will come to the floor. You're going to grip the floor like you did before with your fingertips and feel almost like you're energetically lifting up through the heels of the hands. Now, distance-wise, you want to be about a leg length away. So just kind of measure that first. Plant your hands to the ground and then step your feet onto your chair. Now, if you're using the wall, you'll just have to measure and press your feet, the heels of your soles of the feet against the wall. Then walk your feet in so that you feel that the weight is pouring down through your shoulders and your wrists. From there, push the ground away. Now you might just stay there, and that's a really good place to stay and just build some strength. Some of you might lift one leg to the sky and then think of that foot that's on the chair trying to plug into the socket as if you're going to pull it away from the chair eventually. Good. Release down. Take a little break. You can come to child's pose or just Virasana. Maybe shake out the arms. So if you are finding the shoulders over the wrists, you probably feel quite a bit going on in the shoulders. So just give yourself a little rest in between sides so that you can really come to it with as much energy as possible. If it's too much for the wrist, you can also do this in more of a dolphin setup. So that's also a great option. And if you're really not feeling that going upside down, legs against the wall, and just reach the arms back behind you. Let's go the other side. So if you lifted one side, you're going to lift the other leg. Otherwise, just both legs staying on the chair again. Then lift yourself up. Find that place where shoulders are pouring down over your wrists. Grip the floor with your fingertips. And then play with lifting the other leg up and seeing if you can pull that leg that's on the chair into the socket to lift up. And don't worry if it doesn't happen. It's more about that energetic feeling so that we're starting to connect to these muscles. Push the earth away a little more. Good, and then release. And again, just take a little roll of the wrists. You can put your chair to one side. And some of you might want to do this next bit at the wall. If you're happy playing in the center of the room, you can play in the center of the room. So again, it is just play, so don't kind of attach to needing to get up. We're going to try and play with this position with the leg that we practiced earlier. So your hands will be on the floor, one leg is going to step in, so it's already against my chest. Other leg is going to kick up, and then you're just going to play with some little hops, trying to keep this thigh on the chest. So you could even imagine that you're squeezing the block against your chest and keeping it there. And if you want, that's a great way to practice this, so then you know you're not losing that connection. So block sandwiches against your thigh and against your chest, and then you play with your hops. And make sure you do both sides, because we usually have one side that's our favorite. It's not necessarily about getting the hold, but just learning that skill, that drill. Good, last little ones. And then take your hands, slide them underneath your feet for Padahastasana. And use your toes to walk out in the wrists. And release and roll on up to stand. Take the arms out and up. You're going to take your right elbow underneath the left, wrap the forearms, or bring your hands to your shoulders. Bend your knees, sit your hips down and back, and then right leg comes up and over, Garudasana. Squeeze your knees against each other, the inner thighs against each other as you sit down deep. And find that eagle gaze past the hands. And often, this inversion practice is more about kind of the vision, the intention that we create for ourselves. Removing those blocks, the stories. And so many of us have stories about, why we can't do things. And a lot of them are just stories. So can we create that vision, that intention? Can we see ourselves doing it? Slowly release. Give your legs a little wriggle. Reach the arms out and up. Left elbow goes underneath this time. Wrap the forearms. Sit your hips down. And now left leg comes up and over the right as you find your bind. Squeeze the knees against each other, the inner thighs against each other. And then slowly release, foot to the floor, give your legs a little wriggle. And then make your way down and onto your butt. Bring the right foot into the inner thigh, left leg out long, so straight out in front of you. Reach your arms up and then fold out over your left leg, Janushirasana. You can either hold on to the wrist, or you might like to hold the foot or just somewhere on that leg. So don't kind of worry too much about where you land. Try and press your right knee into the floor. Rise on up. Right hand's going to go behind the body as you lift your hips up into rock star. And sit the hips down. Cross your right leg over your left. And if you like, you can swing that left leg around as well, coming into our spinal twist. So hug the knee and then rotate around towards the right. And as you rotate around, try and hug the knee in, but push out with the knee at the same time. So it helps to drop that right hip down towards the floor. Good, and then rotate back to the center. Legs out long, give them a little wriggle. Second side, so left leg is going to come into your Janushirasana position. Reach the arms towards the sky and fold out over the leg. You You can either bring the hands to the foot or alongside the leg, just anywhere that feels comfortable for you. And try and press that left knee down and into the floor. Slow down the breath. And walk the hands back. Plant your left hand behind you. Raise the hips up. Rock star. Good. Hips come to the floor. Cross your left leg over your right. You can stay there or swing that right leg around. Hug the knee and rotate open into your twist. And press the knee against the arm against the knee. And find the breath in that right side rib cage a little more. And rotate back to center. And come onto your knees. We're going to do a little bit of myofascial release for the forearms. So you can either do this with your other elbow, like so, or you can do it with your knee. So you're going to bring either the elbow or the knee into your forearm, and then just start to smush it around, go up and down the forearm so your palm is facing the ceiling. And you can wriggle your fingers as you do that. You might notice some tender spots in there. It's always nice to give a little bit of relief for the forearms if we have been on the hands playing upside down. So and then switch over other side. See if you can slow down your exhale as you do this. Good. And then let that go. Just give your fingers a little wriggle out. And grab your roll again. You're going to kind of come into a restorative back bend to finish. So a couple of options. You could either go this way around with your roll. So your hips will go on the floor and your spine will be along the roll. Your head will most likely be on it. If you want a little bit more upper chest, turn it around the other way. And then your roll is going to be sort of just at the bottom tip of your shoulder blades. So your shoulders are going to come up and over the roll and your arms are going to be out in a T. So this is going to be a little bit more intense. So just kind of choose the variation that feels right for your anatomy. And you'll notice it's kind of if you're taking the second option, it's quite the opposite to what we've been cultivating, that sense of the rib and the xiphoid and the tailbone towards each other. So just kind of notice that. It's not right or wrong, it's just different. And then once you've found the position that feels really comfortable for you, you can stay there. Then close the eyes and we'll soften the gaze and just let your body sink into this relaxation. Nothing to do but let your body relax. And if you find that the stillness makes your mind busy, just anchor your awareness to your breath. At every exhale, try and slow it down. Maybe even adding a count if that helps you with your focus. So you want to aim for either 6 or 7, 8, 9, or even 10 counts as you exhale. No force though. And see if there's anywhere that you could relax a little more, soften a little more. In a moment, we'll be transitioning off this roll into Shavasana. So just enjoying your last couple of breaths. And the easiest way is to perhaps bend your knees and just roll off to one side. So you can move the roll out of the way. And you might like to just stay on your side for Shavasana. Maybe even bring that roll up to underneath your head. I quite like a side lying Shavasana after the back bend. But if you prefer to roll onto your back, then feel free to do that. You could even go onto your belly. And just notice where that roll was perhaps pressing, the afterglow of that, the aftertaste. Just very slowly starting to awaken the body again. Maybe little wriggles of fingers and toes, little rock of the head from side to side. And taking your time to transition into your comfortable seat. Just taking a moment in your comfortable seat to explore the effects of the practice. A lot of energizing work, getting upside down, but then that nice little restorative at the end. How has that left you feeling? Is there a sense of balance? Almost like a kind of quiet, relaxed alertness. And just noticing what it was like to get upside down for you, whether there were some stories, some fear, or whether you just allowed yourself to play and have fun. And the more we can invite playfulness and curiosity into our practice and into our life, the more expansive we become, the more courageous we become, and the more potential we unlock for ourselves. That fear tends to hold us back, keep us contracted in. Perhaps your intention for the rest of this day, the week, the year, is just to stay playful and curious. Bring the palms together into prayer and bow your head to your hands, really thanking yourself for making it to your mat, thanking your body for all it does for you. And I thank you for joining me. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Hari Om Tat Sat.